Hi guys, I'm creating this video in response to some questions about equation editor in the Canvas. So here's my Canvas page for geometry that I'm preparing actually. So I went ahead and made a Canvas page in there called ways to insert equation into Canvas page. Well, the first method is the easiest way, I think, is use the square root of x button. If you can't find it here because your display is somehow a little different, you go to insert and put square root of x, equation editor, okay? Click. And you know that it's in the basic mode when it says switch view to advanced. If you're in the advanced, it will tell you to put in the basic. So in the basic mode, idea is that you generally use the menus up here. These are the most basic stuff: subscript, superscript, fraction, square root, nth root, and so on and so forth. Plus, minus, plus, minus. Here's some Greek letters, operators, relations, arrow, delimiters, and various other things. So for a simple one, y equal to ax squared. I just put a caret just now. It did it automatically. And I just arrow to the right, plus bx plus c. So that is what the Canvas would consider the basic approach for the built-in equation editor. But using the same exact built-in equation editor, it has the flexibility of the more advanced way of doing it. Let's go there. Let's switch to advanced. Now, when you're in the basic, when I try to use a little tag, it looks kind of wonky. But if you go straight into the basic, you could just type in as it is. It won't change your view of it. It will tell you what the equation looks like. But in the bottom shows you what it would look like. Oops, that should be plus, like this, right? And there you go. For more complicated equations, let's go back to this. We're in the advanced mode. You could literally type stuff in here like this. What you would notice is that it shows you /PM. In LaTeX, all the commands start with backslash, okay? So for those of you who are more familiar, let's start to build one. X is equal to, let's put quadratic formula. That's a fraction. So go back frac, this. So the first group of open close braces is the numerator. The second grouping is the denominator. Denominator is 2a. The numerator is minus b. Now we have a plus and minus. You could either click that one right there, which will give you /PM. Or if you know it, just type it in. And then the next one, square root, you can either click it over here, or it's actually, it's usually what you think it is. It's SQRT. But we want to group it, so we put open close braces around it. And you type in whatever's inside the square root. In this case, it's b squared minus 4ac. And you know, it's here. Boom. And that's how I usually do it myself. So the Equatio and the other apps are essentially slightly more user-friendly way of using this. Let's go back, highlight it, and click on it. Basically, it's this, except instead of using SQRT, you know, they may use more plain English, right? But once you get used to it, though, none of them is necessary. There are other commands that are other apps online that are slightly user-friendly, slightly more user-friendly. The one is this one over here. Because this is editing mode, I can't go there. So I already opened it up. This one is a text equation editor, and you could just type it into here, for example. Here you go. Oopsie, sorry. I should do that. There you go. Backslash, frag, oopsie, A over B, right? And you got a bunch of menu options up here. And then you could even change colors over here of the background, or you could just click in down here, something that looks more familiar, that if you like to use one of those, if you click on them, boom, there you go. You know, yeah, so you got plenty of options, right? And if you're not very familiar with the integrations, well, it'll tell you how to do it right here. Or you could choose from up here somewhere, right? I don't use this as much. Okay, it's right here, okay? Or summations, right? Now, other option, this is one that I use more often, is essentially the same. It's up here, guys, okay? And then you get a whole bunch of options over here, you know. Once again, it's frag A over B. In this particular case, all I did was open brace and it just filled it in for you, just like that, right? Anyways, or backslash square root, same thing of 5. And then you just copy this, whether you use this one or this one. And you could actually, when you're here, it's more, let's say I go here, you can actually just paste it in, right? So what you see, these two, text equation editor or CodeCod, is essentially a fancier version of this, right? It's slightly more user-friendly and slightly more powerful in that I could change colors, right? And whatnot, okay? The advantage of using LaTeX, just if I could point out just one thing, is that if you have simple parentheses like A comma B, you wouldn't know there's much of a difference. But what if I did frac like A over B? Notice that parenthesis here, the size did not change, and it's not very pleasing to look at. However, if you use this one over here, right? It's usually backslash left, open parentheses, backslash, okay, right. So it did it for me. And I could type in between the two. If you start with the open left and close right of the parentheses, if you use the fraction of it, guys, it sizes the parentheses to fit the inside expression, right? Anyways, so these are the advantages. The last one that I want to show to you guys, right, is that most of us are very, very familiar with using DesMos, right? So if you have y is equal to ax squared, excuse me, plus, and I think you could go sqrt space, yeah, it does it for you, right? So it's very similar to the free apps that you guys were talking about. And you could just type it in like so. And this makes no sense whatsoever. But if you highlight it and you could paste it here, it looks exactly like over there. So essentially, the thing that is driving DesMos and many other websites that shows the equation editor, including the math type, is basically a user-friendly interface that utilizes LaTeX, right? So by using LaTeX, it cuts out the middleman. So I personally prefer to use number 2. And if I get kind of stuck, I tend to use this to figure out what the options are. And there's another option, it's called overleaf, right? Commands, let's say LaTeX, all right? And if you go to a website over here, it has a slew of like information on kind of things that you could do with LaTeX, right? But I don't think we have time for that today. But anyways, that's what you could do. And the other apps that you use or purchase or license is not that much different. So that's my 2 cents. But anyways, if you have any questions about how to use all this, let me know and I'll be more than glad to help you to use the functions that are built into Canvas already. Okay, thanks guys.